So you know the ones when you're listening to a song that you really like and you're like, that's my tune.
That's my tune. Hey, this is Jojo Bean. This is episode 38 of That's My Tune, the podcast providing song reviews and interviews. Last week, I had a chat with Crush Williams regarding his song, Them Other Rappers. Today, I'm actually doing a song review. Yay! It's the song Just Dance by Lady Gaga. I'll be sharing my thoughts about that track in just a moment. So rock out to this big tune and I'll be back after this. Gosh, it's been such a long time since I've reviewed a song. And I'm going to share something with you, right? Yeah. I literally argue with myself on a regular basis on what songs I'm going to review. Like, seriously, because there's so many. Like, do you know the amount of times I will be like, okay, this is the song I'm going to do. And I start writing my notes and stuff like that. And then before you know it, like another song will grab my attention. I'll be like, no, actually, I want to do this song. Like I have a list of songs that I want to review. And it's like, where do I go from here? Like, it's like, if I could release episodes on a more frequent basis, or let's be realistic, like every day, I would. And it'll make things so much easier. But obviously, I can't do that realistically. Do you know what I mean? Imagine an episode like every single day, because there's so many songs out there and so many different genres. And, you know, obviously I do interviews as well. So it's like finding that balance. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a good problem to have. And I know that sounds quite oxymoronic. If that's such a word, is that a word? I don't know. But yeah. So that's part of the reason why you've been getting a lot of interviews, because it just gets a bit difficult sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Because like I've sometimes I just give up and be like, you know what, I can't do this right now. I cannot choose. On this occasion, I was like, you know what, I have to actually choose a song. And Just Dance has been on my list for quite a while actually. And I'm going to be very honest, like when the song initially dropped, I didn't like it. Like, in fact, I hated it. Like anytime I heard the song, I'd be like, oh, for goodness sake. But it's funny what time, and in some cases, what maturity can do in terms of music. I mean, as you grow, and especially if you're a musician, like your tastes tend to evolve and change. So whereas when you're younger, you might be set in your ways that, okay, I just like this particular type of music, these particular genres and so on and so forth. As you grow, you know, your tastes expand. And before I get into the review, it's like one thing I have forced myself to do, especially from last year, is to I forced myself to be more aware of the music of today, because my favorite era is from the 1970s to the early 2000s. Yeah, and okay, for those of you who may not know, I used to be a radio DJ. So between the years of 2013 to 2019, I was a radio DJ for various radio stations. And throughout that time, I was mainly presenting music that I enjoyed, 1970s to early 2000s. So you tend to be stuck in that, you know, because that's what I love. And obviously, as a radio DJ, you have to stick to a particular, you know, because they have different slots for different tastes. You see what I'm saying? But what this podcast has allowed me to do is, yes, I still play music from that time, but it also allows me to have the freedom to listen to newer tracks, because sometimes what would happen during my radio DJing days is that, you know, some artists will hit me up and be like, oh, could you play my song for me? And it's not that I don't want to, but it doesn't fit within the 1970s to early 2000s. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, I couldn't do it. But now with my own podcast, I can play whatever music I like. I can interview whatever artists I like as long as they're available. So back to Just Dance. Like I said, it's a song that I initially didn't like. Anytime I heard it, it would annoy me. But within the last year, I think from either 2019 or 2020, like I was having a conversation about the song with somebody, and I listened to the song again, and I was like, actually, this song is a banger. You see what I'm saying? And I thought, you know what? I'm going to include this in my podcast because it deserves to be in the podcast. You know what I mean? See, this is what happens when you're allowed to be in control. And speaking of your taste evolving, there is one song that I used to love that I now do not like. Yeah, and it was released around the same time as Just Dance. It's Pitbull's I Know You Want Me. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I Know You Want Me. And there was a period of time where I was just rinsing that song. I'll play it over and over and over and over and over again. I listen to it now and I'm like, what was I thinking? I mean, you can play the song now and I have a little sing along to it. Might move my shoulders here and there and whatnot. But put it this way, it's no longer on my playlist. But yeah, that's just a little by the way. So yeah, let's get to the song with you. Just Dance was released, I think was it 2008. This song is quite simple in terms of vocal and instrumental structure, and drum beat aside, it's pretty much a whole bunch of synths put together, like various different types of synths, really. I said something like, yeah, it's just a whole bunch of synths. So like when the track opens, you have the main like melody that like, it's so singable, isn't it? And effects wise, it sounds like it has a tiny bit of reverb. No, it does have a tiny bit of reverb, but the where I'm not sure is that it sounds like there's a bit of distortion, but the synth chosen, it could just be that it has its own natural grit, but it sounds like there could be some distortion. I don't know. I'm not a mixing engineer. I'm just making a calculated guess. So for whoever might hear this and whoever the mixing engineer is, I'm sorry if I got it wrong, but that's what I can hear. I'm not an expert. Yeah, so and from the third bar, the chords come through, which again has a bit of reverb. And then from the fifth bar, it all kicks in from a moment like the chorus, like the drop comes through. Don't worry, I won't be talking about bars the whole way through, but that was just my way of explaining things. But yeah. And I must say, I love how fat the kick drum is. You know, when the kick drum is just EQ'd so nicely. Let me tell you something, yeah. As a music producer myself, like EQing kick drums, yeah, is one of the hardest things that can be done for me. If there's something that I don't like EQing, is kick drums. That it's annoying. Especially when you don't want it to clash with the bass line. Like, so whoever can EQ a kick drum so well, I applaud you. Like, well done, because I think we need to give them a round of applause. Like, well done, thank you, all those, especially in this case. So let's talk about the verse for a moment. So I'm dealing with the instrumental side first before getting to the vocals. So the verse, instruments wise, you have the kick drum, which has a bit of reverb, which is quite rare. Usually kick drums don't have reverb, but in this track, it works. It's not a lot, but it's there. It works. And then you have the snare, which is laid with a clap. And again, that's got reverb. Then you also have like a secondary melody. Dun, 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 dun. So, yeah, you got that. And that could also kind of like double as a bass line. That's dry. There's no reverb or anything like that. And then you also have this note like ding. I don't know if it was a vocal that was manipulated. I mean, that's got reverb and delay, but I don't know if it was a vocal that was manipulated or like some synth that I can't decipher. I can't work out what that actual song is, but all I can sing is ding. So there you have it. So if the producer knows what the name of that sound is, please let me know. And then you got the pre-chorus, and then the melody changes. So you know the one that the secondary melody was like dun 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 dun. So then it changes to, and I'm gonna sing in octave higher because it's kind of difficult singing a lot. So it's like dun 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 dun. So so the pre-chorus, the melody changes to that. What I also notice is that with the first pre-chorus and the second pre-chorus, it changes. There's no clap with the snare, because you know I said it's laid with the snare's laid with the clap. There's no clap in that bit. Yeah, I noticed. Chorus wise, like all the instruments just come together. So you got your main melody, the second melody / bass line. You got the open hi-hat. You got the synth pad playing the chords, and then you have what I would say is the proper bass line, but it's kind of hidden. And the notes are sustained, so it's just like, da, na, na, na. But it's there, but it's not there. But it really gives it some oomph. Do you see what I'm saying? I like it. Yeah, it kind of gives some oomph. And what I also like is that 4-count rest before it goes into the second verse. So it's like, just dance. So the vocal has, and again, I'll talk about the vocals in depth in a moment, but you have the vocal and it has the delay, but the instrument stops. So that's that 4-count, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the second verse comes in. And I kind of like that little dynamic because it's not just what you play, it's what you also don't play that's also important as well. I can literally imagine like the sheet music and you can see the empty bar with, all the instruments, empty bars. I don't know much about music theory, but I have very basic music theory knowledge, but yeah. So after the third verse, because the second verse is pretty much the same as the first. I'm getting tongue-tied. This is not good. But yes, after the third verse, Colby, who is the guest feature, there is a slight change with the chorus. So when the chorus comes in, it's just the chords and the main melody. Then it builds up with the second melody / secondary bass line, as I call it. And then the drums come through, which again adds a nice dynamic, the layering and stuff like that. And then you have the breakdown, like the thing, and then it's like the bass is like dun 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 dun. You've got open and close hi-hat. And one thing also notice is that throughout the song, the groove does not change, the drum beat does not change at all. It's throughout, it's like do cha. Throughout the whole, no matter where you are, unless there's like a little rest period or whatever, the drum beat is exactly the same. There's no change, none whatsoever. When it gets to like the bridge, you've got the drum beat is the same, but the kick drum and the snare is different. Yeah, the kick drum and the snare is different. And then there's another melody to indicate that this is the bridge. So it sounds something like dun 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 dun. From the third bar of the bridge, things get a little bit interesting. Like so with the melody I just sang, there's another one, and the melody sung like this. Dun 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 dun. So what I noticed with the first da 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 is like da 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 da. The first 2 times that part is played, it's in the center of the stereo spectrum. But when it's played the third and fourth time, and however the many times it might be played, it is panned left to right or right to left, but it's the notes are panned, but it stays in the center throughout. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. But for me, what I would have preferred is if that second melody was a different synth, but for whatever reason, the producer decided to use pretty much the same synth for both. But that's what they chose, isn't it? And then the final chorus has the same build up as the previous one before. And that's pretty much what it is for the instrumental. Like I said, it's nice and simple. So yeah, let's go to the vocals, innit? So vocally, Lady Gaga's main vocal has delay and reverb throughout. I love the melody that she has, like da, 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 da. It's not straight, it's like it just moves up and down. I like it. It sounds slightly jazzy to me. I like it. I love the melody. I love it. And then of course throughout the verse, like there has this call and response thing. So oh, which is really cool. The BVs are obviously panned. The oh has a bit of reverb and delay, but there's another response where they sing start to rush now. I love the way they sing it with a bit of attitude, but that is dry. There's no that's dry. I think there's a little bit of an effect like a chorus or something. I'm not entirely sure. It could just be the way they're singing it that makes it sound that way. But yeah, there's definitely no reverb or anything like that. And then when they sing Keep It Cool, that's harmonizing with Lady Gaga's main vocal. So she's singing Keep It Cool, and they're singing Keep It Cool. And there you go, you have two-part harmony. Way! Just Dance, the vocals are panned, like the BVs, of course. It sounds dry, but I could be wrong, because majority of the instruments sound big and have reverb, so it could be spillover from that, but it sounds dry to me. Colby's section, his leads have delay and some reverb and a bit of auto-tune in some places. His BVs, some of his BVs are dry, but then where he sings Hey, that's two-part harmony and has delay and reverb. And when he sings Shorty, I can see that you have blah blah blah, the BVs. They're an octave and higher and lower octave, and then there's so much energy, like there's an alto that's added to that, so in essence like three-part harmony. And then one last little addition I like vocally is when the last few choruses, there's the ooh, so it's two-part harmony, so it's the soprano and the alto, so that's comes in quite nicely tucked in underneath. So again, it creates this nice little dynamic. And yeah, that's pretty much my analysis of the song, because like I said, it's a nice simple song, but one thing I would love is to see this song performed live. Like already, like when you listen to the song, it sounds so big, like the way it's been mixed and the instruments used, like it's a banger, and I can only imagine hearing it on speakers. So imagine hearing it at a concert with live instruments and stuff like that. That must be so dope. Like there's some songs like you don't really need to hear in a concert or stuff like that. It's like, yeah, it's a dope song, but there's some songs you just want to hear the live experience because it sounds so sick. And this one, I can just imagine and be like, yeah, this would sound so sick live. You see what I'm saying? And the audience participation and everything would just make it even, you know. So I need to experience Lady Gaga's Just Dance live. I have to. But yeah, that's the end of my song review. I will definitely make more of an effort to do more song reviews. It's just, again, choosing songs and sticking to it. And let me tell you something, like, because song review is not simple, you know. Like, I literally sit down and have to write notes, you know. And a song that you think that you know, when you listen to it again and you actually analyze it, there's so many things that you'd be like, I did not clock this before. I did not realize this before. And it's really cool. But if you don't write notes and write it in a structured manner, trust me, it'll be all over the place. I'm telling you. So that's the end of this episode. Nice, short and sweet. As per usual, you can find all information about the podcast on linktr.ee/TMT_podcast. You find the social media there. You find Spotify there, YouTube, all of that stuff. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Share this with other people who love music just like I do, just like you do. I'll be back next Tuesday with yet another episode. And until then, enjoy your life. Enjoy music. Enjoy everything that needs to be enjoyed. Because we only live once. Bye-bye.